Well, good morning, everybody. We are going to do just a quick look at this Kolbalt 4.3 gallon Quiet Tech air compressor. So they advertise this as a 60 decibel air compressor. It's oil free, which is good, which means you don't have to maintain or service the motor for anything. That's always nice. I have the same technology on my Husky 36 gallon, I think it might be 33 gallon. It's a 33 gallon air compressor. This says 150 PSI max, but you're probably gonna get that for like not very long at all because it's a very small reservoir. And then we're looking at 2.4 CFMs at 90 PSI. Same with that. I don't know how long that's gonna last depending on what types of tools you're gonna use for this. But the primary reason why we bought this air compressor is for the Turbo S. So recently we went out on a trip and I blew a tire in the trail. We were about 5 miles out. It was a side puncture. It was really bad. I have it lifted off the ground right now. But it's just, we have so many issues with air. As you already know, we have the rack on top of the truck that we put this on. So putting this up on the rack the last time we went out with that flat tire was really sketchy. I didn't like it at all. It didn't go up as easy, not near as easy as it normally would if it had all 4 tires slated. Now it's also important to note that I inflate the tires up to 30 PSI when I'm loading this onto our rack. So when I take it off the rack, when we get to the trail, I air down to about 9 PSI so that I can ride the trails. Before this, I was actually using a Via air compressor. So this is the compressor I was using. This is a 77P. It worked really good, but for some reason, the very last time I was using this to air up in order to load the side-by-side on, it quit working on me. I'm not going to tow around this big ass air compressor. It's just way too much work. That little thing just wasn't cutting it, and even when it worked, it was just slow. It would take me about 10-15 minutes to get my tire up from 8 PSI to 30 PSI. I mean, that's just way too long. So what my solve is for this problem is to get this. I got this at a great discount at Lowe's. It was about 200 bucks. The retail on it is 260. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in the bed of the truck, and let's just go ahead and open this thing and check it out. So right when we open it up, we got the owner's manual, which is always good. Definitely want to keep that around. It comes in a really good package. So we got some styrofoam. Something just fell out. This little screw, okay, so this probably wasn't supposed to be in that box, but that's what came in there. And then we have, I mean, look at the compressor on this. This thing's massive compared to the one we had. So let's take this thing out of the box. I'm gonna have to put this camera down for a minute and then we'll take a good look at it. Well, what you see is what you get. This wasn't really too hard for me to pull out of the box. Right off the bat, I really liked this part right here. So before I pulled it out, these are actually not tight enough. So this handle comes up so you can just wheel it around. I really like that feature, especially for me. I have a pretty bad back, so lifting things up and carrying them around is not a good thing for me. But it also collapses pretty far down. So it's mobile, it looks great. These are your tightening points. They're really quick, they're like quick disconnects, and you can tighten them. So on this side, it has a screw. You can just tighten it to make it a little bit more tighter, and obviously you can loosen it up as well. Then you have your air compressor. This thing it looks pretty Husky, looks like a pretty decent size air compressor. It almost appears to be a 2-stage, but I'm not exactly sure about that. You have your power cable right here to the side, and you have a massive cutoff switch right here for turning it on and off. The button feels okay. It feels a little bit on the plasticky side. I wish it was a little bit more robust, but it is what it is. The platform here is steel, which is really good because that means you could probably take this off the tires and mount it somewhere and it would be pretty secure. All right, so looking at the front, this has 2 tanks. It's a really good looking unit. I really like the way that it looks. You have a drain plug all the way down there on the bottom of this lower tank here. And then you have all of your warnings, your instructions. It gives you a really quick idea of what types of air system you're dealing with. It does have a limited 3-year guarantee, and this thing advertises that it's 80% quieter. And we're gonna compare it to my Husky air compressor that I do have over here. This thing is super loud. So whenever I turn this thing on, I have to warn Jessica and let her know that I'm about to turn this thing on, especially if she's in the house, because our movie room is right on the other side of this wall. And when I turn this thing on, it's crazy loud. So on the top, we will be looking at a couple of different gauges here. You have your tank pressure, your tool pressure, basically the line out, and then this regulator right here allows you to select how much pressure you want coming out of that hose. So let's go ahead and just turn this thing on and see how loud it is. Here we go with the test to see how loud this little bad boy gets. So let's turn her on. All right, the camera is approximately 3 feet away from this air compressor. And it really is not loud at all. I'm gonna hold this camera approximately the same distance away. So here we go, we're just gonna turn this thing on and see how loud this air compressor is compared to the Quiet Tech. And just for reference, this one is 33 gallons, 6.8, 5.1, 165 PSI at 1.7 horsepower. Here we go. Well, folks, you saw it here first. Well, technically not really. This thing's been out for a little while now, and I know there's other videos, but This is the machine that I bought to manage the Turbo S, and I think it's going to do a really good job. I'm a lot more confident now. When I go out, I'm going to have onboard air. I did consider putting an onboard air system onto the truck, bolting it underneath. But I just think that this is a much better option because I can take it out of the truck if I want to. I can use it in different situations, and it doesn't have to stay with my truck. So there you go. I'm happy with it. It looks like it's going to be a great addition to my collection of tools and things that I use that I take out with me when I'm going out on our trips. So I appreciate you all hanging out with us. Thanks for tuning in, and I guess we'll check you next time. And then following up onto the front, you have 2 tanks here. So each one is 1.5, or excuse me, 4. All right. So you have 2 tanks up front. Each tank, if you divide 4.3 by 2, gives you 1.5. Okay,